Welcome to another episode of the Communities of Character podcast. I'm Jennifer Hogan, a former character coach for the Hope Institute, and I currently serve as principal of Hoover High School in Alabama. I can't wait for you to hear from today's guest, Dr. Gregory Moore, who recently completed his 23rd year in education. For the past 6 years, he has served as principal in the Springville community in Springville, Alabama at both the elementary and high school levels. Concurrently, he also serves as a Hope Fellow with Hope Institute, which has allowed Springville High School to host character leaders of schools to share intentionality towards character education. He's also a presenter and speaker for professional development activities, principal symposiums, and character conferences. He's passionate about character education, and he strongly believes that schools benefit from a healthy school environment driven by a strong character education program. Could you do a favor for me? If you find this podcast helpful, please leave a review on iTunes, share it on social media, or text someone you know who will also find value in this podcast. Prepare yourself for another episode of the Communities of Character podcast with our special guest, Dr. Gregory Moore. Hello, Gregory, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so excited about this conversation today. And at the time of our recording today, there's been some exciting news recently released about your school, Springville High School, and it was recognized by character.org as a 2023 promising practice for your Tiger Code. And for anyone who's listening who's not familiar with promising practices, they're unique and effective initiatives that can be replicated by others. And according to character.org, they inspire goodness in action, and they contribute to the field of character development. So, Gregory, could you talk about the Tiger Code and what that recognition means to you?
And the Tiger Code is the staple of Springville High School. It is really what has driven my 2 years here as the principal that I've completed for what we stand for. You know, it has given us all something to rally around and something to strive to be as students and as people, as faculty and staff members. The Tiger Code was something that was written 12 to 13 years ago, well before my arrival at Springville High School, but it was on the wall. And this began questions and asking where it came from and what do we do with it. I realized that was our capstone, but was already created. We just needed to bring it back to life. So we've infused it into everything we do here at Springville High School. And so we took what we've done within the past 2 years of me being the principal here full time. I did start a little bit after the start of the school year 3 years ago, but I started in September. So I kind of allowed the school to run the way it was running and just kind of get an understanding of what was taking place. And then I found the Tiger Code and late in the school year, my first year here. And as we started my first full year, we just pretty much used the Tiger Code as what we would all strive to be as students, as faculty, staff members, as a school family. And what we've utilized and been able to do, we were able to submit to character.org, trying to abide by the 11 principles, and was recognized. And we're excited because we're only in year 2. So, of course, our next step is to shoot for being a state school of character and then work from there.
That's terrific. And I love the intentionality that you took when you saw the Tiger Code and how you said it was just hanging on the wall. And it was something that you looked at, but not something that you lived by. And today we're going to talk about how a school develops character through a comprehensive and intentional approach where all aspects of the school are viewed as opportunities for character development. And so when we think about a comprehensive approach, it lets us know about the school culture, and that also informs us about the leadership in the building. And so would you share with our listeners what it means to you to be the principal in a school where the focus is on culture and how you as the lead learner help to shape the culture in the school?
For me, it makes it exciting. You know, it gives me something that I have as something of intentionality to be as the school leader. You know, I feel like the school culture and climate is a reflection of me as the school leader. So, I feel like at Springville High School, I'm the tone setter. I set the tone for the building. I bring the energy, the excitement, the expectation as a school leader. So how I model myself as the school leader, my expectations, my desire to be successful as a principal, I feel like that shapes and forms what we're intending to be as a school. Our school culture for me, and how I help shape it is I'm present. I'm in the hallway. I'm in the class change. I am aware of trying to know what's going on. I am trying to make sure that people have a true understanding of it's not all of what I'm saying as words, but it's my actions, how I carry myself as a school leader, to be the example and the model, as we strive for excellence here at Springville High School.
Awesome. Well, I also know that you were a college basketball player. Then you went on to be a high school teacher and basketball coach before getting into administration. How do you believe that being an athlete and then a coach prepared you for being a character-focused administrator?
It's kind of one of those things that it all kind of encapsulates itself over time. For me, I was a college basketball player, but in all honesty, I played high school basketball, and in my senior year of high school, I tore my ACL, MCL meniscus, Valentine's Day. And so I didn't get a lot of opportunities that I thought I would have to play college basketball. But at the same time, I was the president of my high school. And so, Jim Sanderson at Fulton University came to see me in the hospital and offered me a basketball scholarship, not only because of my athletic ability, but because of my leadership abilities. So, those things kind of help mold and give me opportunity. So then, I fast forward a little bit and I'm about to graduate high school, and I went to Leeds High School, the home of Charles Barkley. So he comes and speaks at our awards day. And, Charles looks at me and says, not every athlete, not every basketball player can go to the NBA, but I couldn't use basketball as a vehicle to get an education. So I took those things to heart, went and played for Coach Jim Sanderson, and his main thing was the fundamentals. If we can be fundamentally sound, if you can be coachable, those type things will help you, be successful. He told us if we were fundamental and if we took care of the little things, success would take care of itself. So, I was always just preached to be fundamental. And then also not only about your skill level, but the other things that helps you be a good college athlete. I was only 6'5", and I was the tallest player we had. So I had to play people who were taller than me, stronger than me, and those type things. But could I be mentally tough? Did I have a work ethic? Those type things, those type things I just feel like helped as I became a coach. And then as you become a high school teacher and a coach, you still have that same work ethic, that same mental toughness, that mindset to be successful. We have to be rooted and grounded in the little things, the fundamentals, and those things help me. And as a coach, you had to learn to adjust. When things didn't go well, you had to make proper adjustments. What did we do? What do we need to change to be better? So as you come into a school and you want to be a character-focused administrator, you still never let go of the fundamentals. I still believe in the fundamentals. Can we be a fundamentally sound school? And how do we start and build the fundamentals is with character. Not all of our kids are going to go to college. Some are going to go to the military. Some are going to go in the workforce. Everybody has a different direction and direction in life that we'll go, but we all can be good people. We all can focus on character and be assets to our community and society as a whole. So I rooted and grounded myself as a character-focused administrator and still believing in the fundamentals. If we want to be a successful school, it comes from hard work and being rooted and grounded and doing things the right way. Yes, well, the fundamentals we're talking about are the 11 Principles Framework from character.org. And Principle 3 is about developing character and weaving it into all aspects of school culture. Could you describe how you approach character development at your school, Springville High School? Oh, definitely. For us, our character approach it's who we are as a person, as a school body, and how do we carry ourselves. There's not a set curriculum approach for Springville High School of this is what I need you to teach today. This is the lesson of character today. It is who you are today. Who are you going to be tomorrow? Who are you yesterday? What mistakes did you make? How do you need to be a better person? We talk about everything we do represents who we are as our family, as a person, as Springville High School. Anything done is going to be tied to Springville High School. So how do you represent us? How do you represent yourself? How do you represent your family? So that's driven through the Tiger Code. That Tiger Code is who we are. That character approach is all dictated by us as a school family. We want to have a school culture and climate and a school family that's driven and believing on trying to be good people. Does it mean we're going to be perfect? No. Does it mean we're going to make mistakes? Of course. But when we do, we understand those things. We will believe in being all students, faculty, staff members being held accountable, being responsible, and doing things a certain way because there's an expectation here. So when we do that, we understand that our approach is every day there's an expectation to be a good person in this building, and that's driven by our Tiger Code.
Driven by the fundamentals, right?
Exactly.
So let's continue our conversation a little bit on leadership. You were at the high school level for many years as a teacher, a coach, and an administrator. And then you moved to the elementary level for 4 years, where you were an assistant principal and a principal before you moved back to the high school level as a principal. So I'm very curious, and I think our listeners would like to hear, what lessons did you learn about creating a comprehensive and proactive approach to character development during your time in elementary school that you've been able to bring back to the high school level?
Well, it's such a unique dynamic for me because when I spent 15 years on a high school level and then you go to the elementary level, you begin to see where the fundamentals are established and started on a kindergarten, pre-K level from a 4-year-old that works their way through elementary school to middle school to when you receive them in the high school. And in high school, we're trying to adjust and adapt to things that are already learned behaviors. But when you're on that elementary level, there's an approach to, a comprehensive approach to that character development because you're molding a 4 and 5-year-old as to what they should be as a student, what's expected, and those things. So, to see that transition as an assistant principal first, coming from a high school, going to an elementary school, you learn and see a lot, and understand how you have to be able to address the little things. We can't just oversight them and say, well, it's okay because they're little. No, it is not okay. At a young age, they should be held. We got to hold them to a standard. Like, this is what the expectations are. We can't wait until they're older and then they have created those habits. And then now we're trying to correct and change those habits. So, we were really rooted on, hey, this is that approach we need to take. At an early age, we need to establish a solid, true foundation of character in our elementary students. Being a principal at Springville Elementary for 3 years and then getting to move 2 years and then moving to the high school, it was I've been at the high school going on my fourth year, third full year. Some of the students I have now were students of mine at the elementary school. So the expectation was already established in a 5 and a first and second grader that they know what the expectations are. So I was able to bring that same approach to the high school to where I'm in the same community. So, ask your little brother, ask your little sister, ask your parents. This is the way it's going to be. And this is the way it has to be for us to be the people that we're destined to become.
So powerful. So the school motto at Springville High School is Springville High School, where tradition matters and excellence is an expectation. How does that tie into your school's core values, and what does it mean to your staff and your students?
For us at Springville High School, we just kind of moved to this motto, where tradition matters and excellence is an expectation. That was not a model that was here for a period of time. But for me coming in as the principal at the high school here, traditions were already in place. And just because a principal change came in and just because we were focusing, having a character approach, didn't mean we were going to move away from the traditions of Springville High School. Those traditions matter and they will always matter. On top of that, now there's an expectation at Springville High School. There's always been a pursuit of excellence, always been a pursuit of that. We want to be the best we can be. But now that excellence is not a pursuit, it's expected. Every day there's an expectation for you to be the best student you can be, the best person you can be. So for us, you look at our Tiger Code, and then our Tiger Code, it has our core values within the word Tiger: truth, integrity, generosity, encouragement, and respect. Our Tiger Code states, I will seek truth with integrity, will live generously, will give encouragement, and will show respect. I will have pride in myself, my school, and my community. So those core values of truth, integrity, generosity, encouragement, respect, it means everything to us. Here at Springville High School, as a principal, I would say the word Tiger Code every day. I speak about the Tiger Code every day. I hold students to the Tiger Code every day. Even if we have issues, we go back and say, how does this fit? What did this mean? How did this violate our Tiger Code? What did we miss in the code? Or how did you not upstand and live up to the expectations of our Tiger Code? Those are the things in which we say every day. Our students hear three things at the end of announcements: always adhere to the Tiger Code, lock down academics, and it's always go Tigers. Because I want it to mean something to our students, faculty, and staff to be a Springville Tiger. But what does it mean to be a Springville Tiger? It means buying into the Tiger Code and living by that code, not only as far as in the school year. We're in June, but our students know right now that you should be still living and believing in that Tiger Code, because it's not a school thing. This is a life thing.
That's so good. And I so appreciate how you said that tradition was already there. Excellence has always been an expectation. You didn't start anything new. You're honoring the past as well as projecting into the future, and you're taking those things and making it explicit and making it your school motto. I just love that. And as we continue to talk about developing character and weaving it into all aspects of school culture, I'd love to hear an example or two of how do your teachers integrate character education into the academic classes and content and instruction?
Well, for us, we have a reach advisory time, an intervention time during the school days, where we have designated days that are set for character education. So we do have a set time where we do focus on character education. We take one of the core values, and it's a monthly value, and we do different activities that speak to that core value. But then, as our teachers have different instructional lessons on different content areas that center around the Tiger Code and morals and doing things so to a certain standard of things like that, we integrate it like that. A lot of times it's about just the Tiger Code itself or character itself. Character education is embedded based on if we're doing a literary work or if we're talking about something in history. How does it tie in and fit character education? What did they have to do? What mistakes did they make that resembled character or not resembled character? Even as the principal, I require that I ask students to submit a character education assignment to me, that they answer questions about what is your favorite core value of the Tiger Code? Why is it? What does the Tiger Code mean to you? And all those are submitted to me. And I read them. I have conversations with students about them. We just finished the school year, and I had 240 students submit an essay to me that stated, what does it mean to be a Springville Tiger? And I had an opportunity to read those. And there's some that I'm going to spend some time sending some information, some letters to over the summer to just tell them how much I enjoyed it and looking forward to having them back on campus. So, I feel like even the teachers in integrating character ed into the academic content and instruction, it's just in our daily conversations, like any conversations that I have, with students, it's about that piece. So it's not only just the academic content and instruction, it's daily conversations.
That's awesome. And something else that you mentioned is you said it's June and your students still know that they're held to those expectations. It's the Tiger Code is not a school thing, it's a life thing.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's talking about families and communities. And so how do you include and create partnerships with parents when you're building a community of character?
Well, and one of the best things about, that for me, like I mentioned earlier, was a lot of our kids, and students I have now were students I had in elementary school. But for me, part of creating that partnership, I feel like every day at Springville High School, we have students that go home with a viewpoint and a feeling and thought of perception of how they feel about Springville High School. What that student goes home and tells their parents every day about Springville High School, about the Tiger Code, about the expectations, that's the first initial sense of reality to that parent, because they can't be on campus. They're not here, they're working, or they're not here to see it. So what their child goes home and says every day is the beginning of the establishment of that partnership with those parents about what we're trying to do as a school of building that community of character. Then after that, when our parents hit campus, if they come to a basketball game, if they come for a meeting, they're going to see the Tiger Code on a wall, on a banner. They're going to see it on a kid with armbands. We give our kids lanyards for their ID badges with Tiger Code on it, hashtag Tiger Code. We have wristbands. We have little armbands for students to wear that say Tiger Code. We just give them out to them. So we keep it before them constantly. So I think part of creating that partnership with the parents is starting with the student and letting the parents see how much their child is bought into what we're trying to build as a community of character for our school and our students. Then of course we have parents who have different businesses and different things within the community. So we have Tiger Code banners. Like right now, I mentioned in June, if our students go get a haircut, a Tiger Code banner is there. When our students go to dance practice at one of the local dance studios, the Tiger Code banner is hung there. If they go to the Mexican restaurant, guess what they're going to see when they walk in? That Tiger Code is hanging up on the wall in there. If they go get pizza, the Tiger Code banner is there. We have community members and parents who students attend here who have been willing to hang Tiger Code banners and posters in their establishment. So everywhere our students go, they see that Tiger Code. So that's kind of what we do to kind of build those partnerships with parents, is we involve them in what we're trying to build as a community for our school, because we want them a part of it. Our ultimate goal, and my ultimate goal as the principal, is the Tiger Code won't become just a Springville High School thing, elementary or middle school. It's going to be the community of Springville. If you come to Springville, it's about a Tiger Code. That's how I would love the community to abide, that we're all going to be a community driven by being good people of character.
What a vision. That's amazing. My next question has to do with school leaders who are considering or just starting out on the journey of building a culture of character, because you're established, you've been doing this a long time, but there are some school leaders who might be listening who are just starting out. So what advice would you give to those who are just starting that journey of building that culture of character in their schools?
Well, I think, for me, the initial advice, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier in questioning, Jennifer, just about coaching and teaching and being an athlete. One thing I learned at an early time, even being a young coach, is you got to know your personnel. We call it KYP. You got to know your people. You can't lead people and help people and drive a character initiative with people you don't have a relationship and understanding of. I'm a big personality test person. I do personality assessments with faculty and staff members. They turn around and do them with the students in their classrooms, because we want to know each other. We want to know what drives us. We want to know what helps us be successful. We want to know how the conversations, because I can't have the same conversation with everyone in my building the same way. Those conversations is still the same meaning, but it has to be led differently, because people understand, comprehend differently. Different things drive and motivate people to do things differently. So you have to know your people. That's the first piece of the advice I would give them, is to understand who your people are, and then you have to understand what you want for your school as far as character, how you want to build that culture of character. And when you start it, no matter what you go through, there's going to be some naysayers, there'll be some outliers. You can't allow that to hinder your vision. You have to still maintain that goal of, this is what we're going to do. This is what I believe we have to be successful. And on that journey, like I mentioned, coming in here to Springville High School, there were people that had been here a long time, had been here several years as teachers. Get buy-in from those who are wanting to buy in with you. You can't do this thing alone. You can lead it and you can be the energy behind it. Like as I talk to you now, I just get passionate and excited about it. Probably can hear some different modulation in my voice, because there has been such a sense of joy when you can collaborate and work with, faculty and staff members that buy into the Tiger Code and things like that. And then you go on a journey together, a journey not only for yourselves, because the crazy thing about school culture and character is when you drive it for your school, it helps you become a better person, because you know what's expected of them, but you can't expect it from anyone in your building if you can't see it within yourself first. So, that piece of advice is, really know your people. Another piece about it is, really work hard with them and to get people to buy into your vision, and then hold fast to that vision for that regard. And then, that last piece of advice is, be sure, and work hard to model that, to make sure that they can see it within you. And not something you just want to talk about. It's just they like, hey, he believes it. This is who he is, and who she is, and who as a school leader, they want us to be.
Those are great pieces of advice. And I got a feeling that some of our listeners are going to want to maybe reach out to you or engage with you, contact you for more information, for more ideas, for more advice. I don't know. So what are the best ways for our listeners to engage with you?
Well, I'm on Twitter They can reach me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is servemore52. This is a servant leadership deal. The crazy thing at Springville High School is, our people in our building understand I'm their biggest cheerleader. I'm here to serve our kids and our community to help us be the best. So, I believe that's my Twitter handle, serve more. So that's serve more 52. And then I'm also on Instagram at Gregory Moore 52. And of course, if you see Fear 52 twice, I must have worn number 52 when I played a little college basketball.
I love that. That was my high school basketball number. Funny fact. So I can appreciate that. I just want to say thank you so much for your leadership, Gregory, and the amazing work that you're doing in your school. And yes, I could hear the modulation in your voice and the passion, for character building for your students, your staff. I just thank you for your work in the field of character development. I'm just so happy that now you're a part of our podcast family too. And you're hearing this message, you've heard a good one, and you've listened to this episode all the way to the end. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Until next time, take care. Thanks for listening to the Communities of Character podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others and post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. Thanks again and take care.